Hey guys, it's GirlGotGame, and welcome back to The Letter. Today, it's Becca's turn to take a dive, really. Hello, cat. So as per usual, I'm gonna skip ahead until something changes. And there should be a fair bit that's gonna change, actually, so should be exciting. See you in a little bit, guys.
You've seen how Hannah's photos turned out.
Oh, hello, Zachary. Apparently you have something to say to me. I'm in Ash's chapter right now, and Zach just showed up at Bella's apartment, and I said, "You promise you won't do anything stupid," which I've done before, but apparently maybe I never showed Ash the photos of Zachary when picking that option before? I guess?
Besides, I was looking for you. Didn't I tell you that?
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry, I was really at a dead end.
Are we back? Oh. Well, Zach, you saved me, because it's basically time for this to happen. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Becca?
I've been teleported to the police station.
Hey, did I wake you up?
Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
No, I left you a voicemail, so I thought, where are you?
Ash, do you remember that one time?
The question catches me off, to say the least. Where is she going with this?
The... what?
Back in secondary, we joined a contest back then, didn't we? We had to dress you up as a girl and...
No.
What? You looked really pretty. I think I still have that picture somewhere.
Burn it. We're not talking about that again. You promised.
It did happen. Not a memory I'm very fond of, to be honest. Still, a laughter escapes me. No matter how embarrassing it is, that moment is one of the few I can remember clearly in my head. I never did find where she kept those photographs.
Seriously, what brought this on?
Nothing. It's just the first thing I remembered.
You're being weird today, Becca. Whatever. Listen, I need you to go home right away. I'm at Salem Well right now and...
Thanks, Ash.
What? Suddenly her voice hitches, almost as if she's in tears, and it sends every alarm bell ringing in my head. For better or for worse, something more than wrong is happening on her end of the line. Regardless, I give her the focus she asks of me. I don't want to think that she is nearly pleading for me to listen. I'd like to imagine that it isn't horror and a deep underlying resignation that I hear in her voice. I'm transfixed.
Hold on, did I do something?
For everything.
Rebecca, what?
I'm so glad to have known you.
Wait, what are you...
Whatever her words mean or feelings they carry ceases to matter in this instant. They're all inconsequential when someone, Rebecca's, life might be in danger. This whole thing isn't just wrong. Wherever she is, something's fucked up is going on, and I'm here listening to it right now, helpless.
God damn it, Rebecca, where are you?
A laughter, and then the line drops dead.
Becca? Rebecca!
Dread turns into terror, and the sudden commotion from Isabella's room comes rushing in all at once. Zach's worried whispers, Isabella's anxious pleas, and the television broadcasting some news about a jumper all over the city. There's a split second where I'm torn between trying to figure out where Becca is and finding out what happened to inspire such chaos all of a sudden. Then Isabella's horrified scream tears above everything and nothing else matters. Spurred on by a cold gut feeling, I rush back inside. Only to bump into Isabella. The impact causes her to stumble back. It takes a whole 2 breaths for her to steady herself. Shaking, she braces both her hands against my arms, gripping my jacket tightly as if it's the only thing keeping her from breaking. Though even then, there's weakness to her movements, her breathing labored. Any minute, it seems like her knees will suddenly buckle if I don't keep a firm hand on her shoulders. Yet it all shatters when she glances up at me. Tears stream down her cheeks, panicked, desperate, her voice brimming with anguish when she speaks.
Ash, we need to get out of here. We can still save her.
I don't know if you really took a close look at the TV, Bella. I don't think there's any hope of saving her.
Save who?
Despite the question, a cold and cruel voice whispers in my head. You're too late. I want to believe it isn't. I hope and wish it isn't who I think it is. Because I don't want to be someone who has been so useless in that exact moment, paralyzed by dread when I heard her speak. I knew something was off, god damn it! I don't want to think it might have been her final words I'm listening to. But the horrifying possibility that what I dread is real drowns out everything else, especially with the next words that tumbles out of Isabella's lips.
Ash! Rebecca's! We have to help her! We can't just let her die like that!
Without warning, her knees buckle. Stunned, I've no choice but to go with her. She slumps weakly on the floor, her face sinking into my shoulder as furious tears flow from her eyes. At the sound of her sobs alone, everything around us fades. Every sound, every movement becomes nothing but noise. Even Zach's somber expression doesn't completely register until I glance up at him with a heap of questions in my eyes.
Zach, what does she...
He merely looks away, not to avoid my gaze, but to lead it towards the television still blasting the same news from earlier. A live broadcast. The second my eyes land on the screen, understanding dawns on me. I'm useless. Becca. I'll recognize her anywhere. I can make out her form even from the way the station has blurred out her image on the TV. And for once that isn't a welcome fact. Too clear, too vivid. Her broken body lies on the sidewalk in just one big, bloody mess. Her hair fans out and stands out in stark contrast to the pavement, slick with blood and redder than it's ever been. The right side of her head is caved in from the impact, and her right arm is twisted and mangled. And there are those words again around her. Help me, just like the letter.
Medical personnel are on their way. Officers have resumed securing the immediate area for investigation and cleanup.
Gone.
Others have been dispatched for crowd control.
She's gone. And I wasn't able to do a damn thing about it. Even now I can't do anything other than stare at the tragedy playing out in front of us, and hold on to Isabella like a lifeline as she does with me. Can't even bring myself to move. Because no matter what I say or what I do right now, empty words won't bring back the friend we all lost. Numb is an understatement. No. I feel dead inside. We all do. In the end, I can only scream. Whew. Man. Well, that played out quite a bit differently. Before Ashton could understand what was happening, a scream echoed from Isabella's apartment. Rushing back in, he bumped into a distressed Isabella. When he looked to Zach for an explanation, the other man could only avert his eyes toward the television. I assume I can't skip this. No. Death notification is a task I avoid like a plague. I even try to skip through it. Although I've known Rebecca since childhood, there are plenty of reasons why I shouldn't be the one breaking the bad news to her parents. 1. Protocol states you're always supposed to do this in person. 2. Protocol also states you're supposed to do this with a partner. And 3. I've never been good with words. But here I am, unceremoniously thrusted into the task, all because there's no other one. As expected, everything goes as well as my blunt mouth can take. Mrs. Gale's relentless sobs echoed loudly through the receiver when I finish informing them, while all I can say before ending the call is an empty...
I'm really sorry, Mrs. Gales.
Before ending the call with a click and heading back inside Isabella's apartment. Her mom's voice still rang in my ears, even as I leave it all in the hallway behind me. Here, though, Isabella's cries have already faded into soft whimpers, and sometime while talking to Rebecca's family, she has fallen asleep. Now she lays still, curled up under her blanket. In the nearby couch, Zach sits silently and simply gives an acknowledging nod when I pass by. Wordlessly, I take the empty space on the edge of the bed. Despite how peaceful this all seems, the gravity of that news has hit all of us hard. It's in the dense air now lingering the room, It's in Zach's shoulders while he tries to make himself look smaller against the couch. Most of all, it's in the furrow between Isabella's brows. Gently, I reach out to smoothen it out. She reacts with nothing but a sigh before turning on her back and burying herself further under the sheets. At the same time, Zach also shifts. He leans forward, hands clasped tightly in front of him as a pensive expression comes over his eyes. A long minute passes while he sits like this, before he speaks and glances up at me.
Were you able to tell her family?
Yeah. It was bad. She was their only child, and...
I'm sorry, Ash.
Don't. You did what you could.
I was the stubborn one. I was the one who didn't listen. She kept telling me, if only I'd listened to you. If only I listened to Isabella. She'd probably still be...
alive. Becca's the last person I need to account for, damn it. Zach's here. Isabella's here. Where did it go wrong with her?
What do we do now, Ash?
Unable to offer an answer, I avert my gaze. How many more close calls do we have to go through? How many deaths do we have to witness? How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this, losing people important to them, one by one, right in front of them. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. She, out of all of us, carry a much deeper attachment with the people she loves, no matter how little time she spent with them. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, surprisingly calm and composed in the face of this, is what suddenly cuts through the thick air.
We can't let that woman, that thing, take more people from us.
How long have you been awake?
I'm not going to lose both of you to her.
Her bed creaks, dips when she pushes herself off it and takes the empty seat next to Zach. Quietly, she begins gathering every paper from BRC and starts laying them out on the table. Once done, she glances briefly at both of us, a sharp, determined one, then gets straight down to business without another pause. With what happened, we have no choice but to follow her lead. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what we found last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zach's encounters with the woman and his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears. Don't know who told that part of the story. The dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Zach, who knows what he's thinking. Yet even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon, and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
Ash, please. Rebecca wouldn't want us to give up on this.
It's an odd thing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess. Isabella is right on the other point as well. Rebecca would definitely give me an earful herself if she were still here. She had a knack for being brutally honest with her opinions. Sure, we'll call it that. We had often clashed at times, yet I still respected her for it. Her opinion was as valuable as every other person I've let into my life. I can't lose another person like that.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Not a good time for a joke, Z-Man.
Sorry.
Anyway, like I said, You discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Shouldn't we look into the mansion too? That's where the letter came from. That's where she came from. Maybe it's just as the professor says.
He did tell me there might be more to this than what I might be thinking.
Give me all those story updates, game. But how does the mansion equate into all of this? How does the letter Isabella found does? Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? If I'm going to go by what Andrew told Zach, the connection between the letter and the mansion's curse may run deeper than what we've initially thought. That stupid paper might be at the heart of this for some reason, and we won't be able to figure this out without looking into the other. Fuck. How do I? The mansion's a private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us like she did with Rebecca. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything to sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the two of them are on their feet, while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the three of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
I don't like the sound of that. At all.
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella's unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms. Her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly, the lights go out, and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they both are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. A glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whatever, whoever is inside. Confused, I glance back towards Zach and Isabella, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. You two, we need to...
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just an experience. Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes, the gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know, the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the—
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No, I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wail she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading the two of them out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving us out of Salemwell. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Okay, so we can skip a little bit here until the fight, TM, happens. So let's see how the fight goes without Becca being involved. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them. Zach and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience store food in hand. After last night's flight from Salemwell, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Excuse me. Normally, we'd all be adverse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us has gotten an ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, it only lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now, from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just friends on a day out. Isabella's gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks. Something funny or amusing, probably, because it's soon followed by Zach's booming laughter. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life-and-death situation the way they're acting now. Easy to forget we've lost someone. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask. Slightly disheveled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Zach tosses an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they drizzled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking exactly what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. Both of them appear to be of the same mind, too. Soon enough, they also start with theirs. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forgo. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. I know that's what Rebecca would do. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons on a nearby waste bin. Along with it is the shift of the mood. Back to dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kinds of moments between us. We never had the chance. Always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us gone, the world has an awful sense of humor. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to if we ever free ourselves from this damn curse. I'd like to believe there's a way. For now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular, but they all look to me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game and I'm still sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here and we've started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue, and stress, we have enough kindling to get a fire burning. The not-so-pleasant kind of fire.
I think it's clear. We can't just stay here.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Zach. Sooner or later, she'll...
We don't really have a choice, Bella. We can't even go back to our own homes. No matter where we go or hide, she's gonna get us.
You're giving up again.
I ain't! I'm just being realistic. Nowhere's safe. Even if dying's the last thing I want to do right now, I can tell there is no way that woman's...
This is just like your movie all over again.
What?
This and that are two different things, Bella.
I kind of think they might be two different things.
And you know what? Right now, I'd rather see my movie flop twice over than go through this.
I can understand that.
Just because this whole thing doesn't look good, doesn't mean there isn't a way out. Zach, I know Rebecca wouldn't...
Rebecca's gone, Bella. And if what happened last night didn't tell you how bad...
I know that! You don't have to keep reminding me. Do you really think I don't blame myself for everything?
Nobody's telling you to think that way!
Oh, you too.
No, but you might as well just say it. Even if no one else does. I know everyone thinks this is...
All right, that's enough!
No, Bella, the one person who thought that is not here anymore.
Both of you, stop this!
They both falter to silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between the three of us. I do not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling, not in a moment when any time, anywhere, she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little, we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we're trapped in. Did that ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. I can't even believe the next words coming out of my own mouth. That out of everyone, I had to be the one saying these to them. This is more their forte than mine. Keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have been turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I'd like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure what or who I am angry at. The ghost? At them? Or maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit, they're still counting on me. In spite of my failures, or every harsh word I've uttered, or how unbearable I can be as a friend. It's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one by one they follow me and get in the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even through my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In this city of 68,000 strangers, they are the only ones I have left. I think the fight actually went very well with the three of them. It seemed to escalate naturally. So, I'm okay with that. Time to skip ahead once again. For a little bit. Okay. For the sake of the one we've lost. And we continue. I think if I do this, this will unlock something later. I can't remember. I don't think it's now. I know it's a negatory with Zach, which I don't like. Because my dear Watson deserves better. Okay, so I went to sleep. Well, there was a furious Zachary. Blech. The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He has always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on week start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. Have I not read this? With the kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you, might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Another question forms in my head, along with a small confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, he gestures his head on the far side of the main lounge. Isabella has settled on one of the tables set in a corner, in deep thought and with a scowl on her face. From the looks of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes as it occasionally flickers over Isabella. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Not that I know how. I don't even know what put her in such a bad mood. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, no people in sullen moods, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing. Go fix it before it turns into something chaotic.
It's probably not as petty if Isabella's already in that state, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even knows. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm. Okay. Should be able to skip again for a little bit. Has already taken someone we care about from us. There we go. I am wondering who's going to meet us out in the parking lot, because usually it's Becca, but Becca's not here, and now we have two options, so I don't know what's going to happen. Exactly as I have told Zach. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Anything to keep her safe. Okay. I'm actually getting negative affection with Bella, because I want her to reject his confession and not have good feelings toward him. I think that's also a node. And it's hard to do that and have him reject Rebecca's confession if it's higher than his affection with Bella. So I'm like, well, Becca's not here anymore, so maybe I can get that node unlocked? We'll see.
Forget it, Belle. You're not going back to that mansion.
But Ash, what about...
This isn't up for debate. Do you really think they'll just let you in? Do you really think they'll give a damn if you walk in there carrying that stupid letter of all things?
No, but there has to be something we can tell them. Ash, they were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are. They're living in that place. That ghost woman came from there. Both her and the letter. Something's in that house, Ash. And whatever it hides might be the only thing that'll get us out of this mess.
All right. Suppose you do find an answer there. What happens? Let's say that by some dumb luck, you got inside and found something.
What if you see her again? What if she goes after you?
What are you going to do?
It's not like we have any other choice. Besides, I'm pretty sure you've already thought of the same thing. Admit it.
That doesn't mean I'm going to let you run straight into trouble. What you're planning to do is risky. For you. Give it up, Isabella.
Unexpectedly, Isabella merely clams up. No resistance, no further argument like I've come to expect from her. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin, till the air in the whole room grows awkward and suffocating. Nope. A standstill that'll get us nowhere. Although there's one thing our talk has wonderfully succeeded at, it's making me feel like a total asshole and a hypocrite. And I am, considering my plans tonight. Sure, I can tell her, but what good would it do? I've already told Zach. One person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least, of where I'm heading off to, in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I like to think that, yes, to some extent she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma's clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it, her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument as she doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Maybe it's because she has already thought of the same thing. Maybe my words have made her come to her senses. Either way, it's best that we simply leave it here for now. Without another word, I stand up. At the same time, footsteps shuffle from the pub's entrance and cheerful chatter suddenly fills the room as a group of people enters. It's all the distraction I need. Well, that went swimmingly. He insisted she would only put herself at risk, although she acquiesced, dismay was clear in her face. Muttering an excuse, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave her on her own, despite the disappointed look on her face. Before Isabella can say what she's been mulling over. Before the last imploring glance she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory. One that spurs the conscience, among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Okay, so who's gonna meet me?
Go back inside. I can't have you tagging along. You're safer with G than with me.
Okay.
Where are you going, Ash?
Somewhere. I won't be long.
Somewhere. Without another single glance, I walk past her, heading straight for my car. She follows regardless, a different kind for desperation woven in her movements and the next syllable she utters.
This isn't just about you, Ash!
My hand stops a few centimeters short of nudging the door open. Even above the howling winds, her words strike true, booming, echoing, spurring a guilt within me. Despite my silence, she continues. Although her words aren't meant to spite, only to prod, they each cut with the sharpness of a blade.
That thing will stop at nothing to get us. What makes you think you can do this alone?
That face. A brief pause, then, taking in a sharp breath and swallowing my restraint, I snap at her. If any sort of guilt comes from this, I try not to show it.
What makes you think you being there would make any difference? You'll only get in the way.
Oof.
I've already told Zach the same thing.
Oof.
Don't make me repeat myself.
Ashton!
Oh, dang. Oh, no, I didn't like any of that. I don't wait for her answer and quickly slip inside my car, slamming the door behind me with so much unnecessary force. In that one moment, one conversation, something also breaks between us. Something irreparable. A different kind of regret. Haunting me amidst the silence of my car as I drive off and leave it all behind. Oh no, not like this. Not like this. Oh no, he's got no eyeballs. You know that means it's serious. It's irreparable. Ashton left for the mansion at nightfall, but when he got to his car, he found Isabella waiting for him. Angry that he was keeping them in the dark, Isabella tried to stop him. However, her disapproval of the detective's actions fell on deaf ears. Well, on the bright side, all the nodes are being unlocked, guys. Yay! So, I mean, that's good, right? I think that's a good sign when that happens.
Who can tell my friends what might have happened here? They're at the crawl.
Interesting. Why did it stop there?
You know the place, right?
Right. Okay, well, if you want to stop there, that's fine with me. If that's a node, that's fine with me. Okay. Are you still gonna confess despite the irreparable thing that happened? No. Okay. I don't think he did. Okay. Isabella had only ever seen him as a friend and awkwardly turned him down. Okay, I must have seen that already then. It's just been so long, I had forgotten it. But I did unlock something else unintentionally, so yay? In one corner, Zach watches almost as surprised to see us. McCullough's also with him. Of course, she didn't listen to me, even if I've already exceeded the 15 minutes we've agreed on. Although, color and strength seems to have already returned to her, enough for her to be able to stand unassisted. The empty plate on the counter appears to have played a part on that. Good news, I guess. As for the other one, however... Relieved as I am that he has had the sense to wait and not venture deeper into the mansion, I can't keep but roll my eyes at him.
Zach, I said 4 hours.
I know, but Isabella asked and... Come on, bro, you know I ain't a very good liar.
And it didn't even occur to you to stop her?
I tried, all right? Even G. She was out the door before I could say anything.
And how did you guys even get in here?
Both of them exchange a look, one that I absolutely don't like. In the end, it's Isabella who speaks up, albeit with a bit of hesitation.
We heard someone scream, Ash. It led us here.
Without warning, the door behind us slams shut.
We need to get out of here.
Screw right. I need to get these people out of here. Lucky we're in the kitchen and we have 2 ways out. The back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door, as if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Zach also gives it a few tries, but even with the big guy's strength it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we all simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Blood. Everywhere. Just all over the place. Just a mess. In every nook and cranny, over every surface, and in every inch of the floor. This time... Can I skip from here? Yes, I can. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I'm forgetting something important. Okay, good. Zach helps McCullough first, assisting her up and through the gap, before giving a hand to Isabella. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for him to go through.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, he does that without any protests. Not that there is any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place has calmed down. No wails, no whispers, just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until everyone's on the other side of this nightmare safe. For all I know, this may just be a calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Zach makes it to the other side and I'm following after him. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains, though. Okay, can I skip for a little bit? Yes. Alright, so here we are again. It's sight enough to lodge a painful thorn up my throat. I've been too complacent, too focused on other things that I've completely set aside the fact the scumbag will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those, good intentions, curses, and ghostly apparitions aside, we're still trespassing in his home. The question is if he's even aware that the whole of his household has somehow disappeared and he might be the only one here. Likely not. Fuck. Even with people he knows among the crowd, there's a significant effort in him not to simply shoot everyone in sight.
And really, Lily, even you.
Sir, this isn't what you're thinking. Something's going on in this mansion.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry. I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves the handgun at them as if it's just a mere toy and his words are no threat. The safety's off on his. Nothing stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture I draw my own and level it at him, finger on the trigger and ready to release the safety catch in case things go south. Okay. We should be able to fast forward. Again, once this is cleared. There we go. Beg him to listen so we don't die. This time, but next time, it'll be a whole different thing. Okay, so now we just gotta catch up to the foyer scene again. So, I'm trying to decide if I should fade to black and bring you guys in when something changes, or it could just happen now? Huh? I don't even have to prove myself to Hana. She always told me that it isn't that material that fills her with content. But it was with who I was when we were alone. When I didn't need to be your right. Just Lucille. Just Luke. Sometimes I wonder, had we met under different circumstances, had I grown up a different way, would all of this be any better? Would we be any happier?
Good night, my sunshine.
Well, there's a thought. Okay, I don't know why that changed, but I guess I'll take it, maybe? Well, there they are. There's those goobers. Are we good? Okay. We're good. Yeah, I will fade to black now. Hopefully nothing else changes, and I'll bring you in at the foyer scene, guys. Alright, back in the foyer. Let's just clear all our nonsense away. And then we'll have Luke tell his classic joke of who's in his foyer this time. And from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms. Recognize them, even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. And if one of this WOG sort is in on this, I'm not surprised too. But Lily, the estate agent, she doesn't seem the sort. Not to mention Mint. Hana trusted her. I trusted her to be a professional at the very least, for fuck's sake.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers, what is wrong with these people? Did they really think I'll be fine with them walking into my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, they might also be behind Hana's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
They must have a motive.
Make them pay.
And it better be a good one.
For all the wrong they've done to us.
Or a bullet to the head is the least all of them will deserve.
Let's see. A photographer, a real estate agent, an interior designer walk into a mansion.
Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time its sound hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, with the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kinda like it, to be honest. Adds something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. Another trespasser. Great. Just as he's about to jump down from furniture that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? And did he really think it's all right to do that in other people's house? Lout.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My hand's already moving before any rationale can stop me, fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter. He won't let the people he cares about be harmed. My finger on the trigger is more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him. But more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey trapped by his own recklessness.
Pathetic. And really, Lily, even you.
Sir, this isn't what you're thinking. Something's going on in this mansion.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that. I can't just risk it. The thought of having dead bodies here, ones that I'm not even responsible for, they're the ones who trespassed. It's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at the slight wave of my own, even if he knows it's already too late. But we can skip. For a while. Huzzah. And I will demand my wife's release. Alright, grand. Okay, let's just clear that up and then we can read through all the taunting and jeering one more time. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan, blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it is just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and the lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. At the sight of it, Lily trembles, hugging herself closer, while Steel and Feathers stand protectively in front of her. Brave of them, I have to admit, to put themselves in the front line like that. Though it doesn't necessarily mean they don't feel the same fear as the rest of us. Something I don't blame them for. There seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away! No. Stay away! Stay away!
I'm not afraid of you, you spook! This is one Scotswoman. You aren't getting into an early grave without a fight!
Their screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Until there is nothing but silence, her horrid smile and pale hands reaching out to me. Calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified. I really am, like I should be, but I've never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, and it will not keep me alive, not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside of me to survive. There's no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood we share? This is your home. Don't you remember? You promised to return. to stay together with me, with us, with people no different from you.
What is she talking about, Luke? What does she mean?
Don't listen to her, she lies. I promised no such thing to anyone. Hannah, you're the one who bought this house. How should I know what she's babbling about? I never even wanted to be here in the first place.
A terrible case of mistaken identity. That must be it. I'm quite sure of it. I don't know this woman, this monster. Why would I say that to someone like her? In my entire lifetime, I've only made and kept sincere promises to a mere 2 people, Hannah Evans and Eleanor Chandler. No one else. The rest of those who claim I promised anything to them can go fuck themselves. Bloody hell, I may enjoy the company of women, but I am not an idiot to start spouting such nonsense to anyone. A line must be drawn, especially if I am to keep myself alive. Yet she still goes on, insists, making me appear a liar in front of these people.
Of course you still deny it. Have you truly forgotten? You haven't changed, I see. Still a deceiver.
She's lying!
You see, my love, nothing has changed. Still no difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes? Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again, her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct. Stumbling back, one step at a time, in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. Take Hannah with me. We can start a new life out of this dreadful city, start a family. There's nothing for us here. Her parents were long gone, nothing to keep us tied to this place. Stroken has likely been taken by this woman, and he's not what binds me to this wretched city. I only need Hannah. We can leave, we can—
Careful, Luke!
My foot steps on something, sending me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper, familiar one, flutters down. It's this thing again from the open house, though it feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat, what with recent events. It must have fallen from one of these peasants in the commotion earlier. For a moment they appear conflicted to see it in my hands, but wisely keeps their opinions to themselves. Leaving the damn thing to simply bear its grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me, help me, help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. I certainly am not giving myself to a hideous creature like her either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panicked gasps and worried glances from the other people here, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door and— without warning, it slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love. You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils around my limbs finally dissipates. Don't think I can skip. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 6 of us in the room, 3 of them friends at that. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. Bloody hell, even Hannah's giving me the same looks as them now. Though Mint has already gone loon, crouched in a corner and muttering to herself, you can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading looks Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind steel and feathers. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. Why, even Hannah has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Put that knife down, Lucille.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, for this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened!
And blaming everyone in this room isn't going to get us out of this place. Please put that knife down, darling. You might hurt yourself.
Are you taking their side? You're also stuck in this nightmare, Buttercup! What about the children? Aren't you the least bit worried about them? That creature is out to get us, and you're still defending these people!
I'm not defending anyone, Luke. I'm just trying to be reasonable when you're clearly not.
Oh, of course you're not. You're just the one who bought this bloody mansion to begin with. If I didn't know any better, you did this on purpose!
Why, no. Why would I ever do that? This was only meant to be an anniversary gift. For you. For us. For the family we're going to have.
Right, anniversary gift. Oh, here's your gift, darling. Oh, by the way, there's a curse included in that package. I hope that's all right. Are you really that eager to get rid of me, Hannah? Because if that's what you've been meaning to do all this time, you might as well just put a knife in my back while I'm...
Suddenly, Hana steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand. Said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. Before my mind registers what's happening, a sharp blow explodes in the side of my head, sending me reeling backwards. She merely stands before me afterwards, without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Can I skip from here? Nope. Sometimes I forget.
Don't you dare, Luke. Don't you dare imply I've ever thought of you that way.
That Hana is never the weak woman I believed her to be. How did I come to think of her as such? She used to be someone I can look up to, isn't she? When you look at her now, the way she stands tall, facing a man like me, the same way she has done so all those years ago, I can't help but think, am I not responsible for taking that part of herself away from her? Enjoy your time as Mrs. Luke Wright. What a bunch of shite. Realizing this, I can only look away when she reaches up and places a hand on my face. Gone is the anger in it, and only a soft smile remains while she looks at me with a shine in her eyes. The 7 years we've been together, I've only been nothing but a piece of shite to her. Yet here she is, still smiling at me the way she has done so many years ago. It's impossible not to feel like a complete and utter trash like this. She has an uncanny way of doing this to me, really, especially when she takes my hand in hers and places it right on her tummy, right where 2 tiny babies are still growing. Ours.
Love, look at me. We've already talked about this. If we are still going to do this, it has to be the 2 of us. I will stay with you, but things are going to have to change if we want this to work. We can't keep doubting each other like this.
Not until we find a way out of here.
I'm sure we can. Maybe they know something we don't.
You're going to rely on them for that? These peasants who brought this on us?
You keep that rude mouth running, Whiskey, and see if any of us here will help you out of this place.
Ah, Mint took Becca's spot.
Please stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She has always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I've met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She has never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Mint, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at the other. The way she glares at me, it reminds me a little of the way my own mum would look at me. Particularly when I've done something wrong, and it's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not 2 mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment, there's only silence in the room. Steel, the big oaf, doesn't even dare break it. Neither does Feathers. With both merely watching us. Bunch of wimps, these men. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper,
A deep breath, an exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows, while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that admission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An admission? It seems like it, from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even her friends has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Hey, hands off her, right?
Fuck off, Feathers. I have questions for your friend, and she better have the answers.
Then stop taking it out on every single person.
Your friend is hiding something!
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damned paper. As much as I want to be considerate right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, without warning, Mint snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right there and there, but the way she glares at it, I think she may want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got!
No, even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything. I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos. There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them! Oh God, those poor souls! They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
Is that what the trip to BRC was for?
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you guys until I was certain. None of you believed me the first time. I had to find proof.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time, but the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same questions in our eyes.
What?
I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
No, it might be something. What about this place, Zach?
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
You mean what Andrew told you? Those were just stories, Zach. It might not even help.
Regardless, Steele pauses while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her, and her face lights up with something like hope? Of all things, in this nightmare, hope? Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance? Or a confirmation? The meaning is lost even to Feathers, who glances at them baffled.
Isabella, what are you...
Ash, it's this place.
What? You mean we burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value!
What? No! We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Seriously, Luke? Are you really more worried about that?
Buttercup, Marching, millions. It's gonna take years getting all that money back.
Well, you certainly won't be getting any of that money if you're dead. Really, Luke? Is that more important than your life?
It's not only that. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, and whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people, officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion might be keeping her here. Unless we do something about this place, I don't think she'll leave.
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
How dare they suggest something like that? Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. To think this is all the solution they can come up with. I should have just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. It doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, the crazier this whole place gets. The voices have become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And they may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find a way out of this place as soon as possible if I want to stay alive. Fuck, I still have so much to do! None of our choices seem sound, but who knows? We don't understand a shite about this place. Might as well try everything, yeah? Whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for error is with the only sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. Ooh, I get to do both! Extra nodes! Huzzah! Alright, let's clear all the things. Good. Save. Here. Yes. Let us burn the mansion first. I'm going to regret this, I will. But with those cries growing louder, this has become the easiest decision I have ever made. I'm getting tired of hearing her sobbing, really. It's just irritating. Isn't she getting tired of it? Besides, someone has to act fast, think fast. And what else is the root cause of our problems but this place where the letter was found? No need to make things more complicated. It started here, why won't it end here? If what Lily has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before someone thinks of putting this blasted place up in the market. When I get out of this place, I swear I'm suing a bunch of people. Run that estate company to the ground if need be. We spent millions, damn it! Millions! With a sigh and perhaps a heavy heart, I opened one of the drawers in my study table. Taking a bottle of liquor out for myself, then passing it on to every occupant in the room. They accepted, but not without a look of protest or a confused glance my way. It does shut them all up, so maybe I've done something good.
Luke, this isn't the time!
Even more when I pop the cork off the bottle and pour its contents on the floor.
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
We waste no time dousing the whole room, the smell of alcohol filling the air. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they're more than eager to set this whole place on fire. And the blaze catches easily in this room when I set it alight, using the blasted paper as kindling. With the whole place drenched with wine and all manner of things alcoholic I've been hiding from Hana, the small fire soon turns into an inferno. In a matter of seconds, we're out the door. And we can skip from here. Finally, the game acknowledges that things are the same. Okay. So, did anything change in the epilogue? Things seem pretty normal. Friendships have been broken. Okay, so no new epilogue stuff, which is understandable. Alright, now we need to reload back in and burn the letter, even though it will not change the epilogue. And it's an easy decision to make, especially with these cries growing louder. I'm getting tired of it, really. I simply have to act fast, think fast, and what else is the root cause of our problems but that letter? No need to make things more complicated. It started from there, why won't it end there? If what Mint has said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before anyone can think of passing it on to someone else. Before the situation can stretch on far too long for my taste, I snatch the blasted paper away.
Give me that.
For a second, she appears offended until I take out Mum's lighter. The sight of it shuts them all up, but I have no need for their opinion. In the next moment, I'm already setting the letter on fire. Okay, should be able to stop after this. Okay, grand. Perfect. So, we can save here. And then... Yep. Skip ahead. That'll activate the end of the chapter for realsies. And then we can check our branching paths. And then I get to see how much progress I made percentage-wise. Becca, what did your sacrifice do for us? Let's find out. Okay. The sacrifice resulted, I think, in a 2% gain for both Ashton and Luke. Luke was definitely 32%. I think Ashton was at 82. So there you go. All right. We got a couple. Yay! We got a couple more percentages. And saw some new scenes and things. That is good to know. Whew. All right. Well, that's another ending down, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Becca, thank you for your sacrifice. And with that, next time it'll be Ashton's turn to die. And then that'll be all the solo deaths. And then we're moving on to new and grander things. So very exciting. Getting closer and closer to extra ends for Bella and Hana. So yeah. Hopefully I will see you for Ashton's death run next time, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. And until next time, I will see you later.